examples through each slide that David to apply to your own way of life, right? So, overall, this is a very concise, well thought of essay, so the only thing is that you might want to review, correct your grammar, polish your expression a little bit, but overall, this essay is very, very good. So, yeah. No, I'm not just give you casual comments. That's the truth, okay? So, yeah, I like the way you're writing things. So, I hope I could be like you when I was your age. So, we're not that good. So, okay, so, so, that's very insightful concerning the opening comments or the statements were made, because that's really draws the essence. The essence is exactly what it means, and right, you make your own way, or you allow God to build it up, to qualify you for the things that He allow you to release your life, right? So a maker of your own destiny, or allow God to lead to the things that He will open up for you, so really is good. So that is a word inside of dead on the money, in a sense. I don't know how to give a better expression, so, but that's very good. So, okay, we're going to move on today with these lessons, or rather readings. So far, you guys like it? Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been too long since we've grown up.
Yeah, I know. That's my fault. So.
No, it's alright.
Okay, so the next one is 4:14 on my end. 子曰参乎吾道以贯之. This is a very famous saying. 参乎吾道以贯之. 曾子曰为. 子出门人问曰何谓也? 曾子曰夫子道忠恕而已. Go ahead. Can you do the translation for us?
Chapter 15 on ours.
Okay.
It says here, number 1, the master said, Sean, my doctrine is that of all-pervading unity. The disciple Tsing replied, yes. Number 2, the master went out, and the other disciples asked, saying, what do his words mean? Tsing said, the doctrine of our master is to be true to the principles of our nature and the benevolent exercise of them to others. This and nothing more.
Well, comments on this one? True to own heart, right? So true to one's own conscience, should say. The conscience represents the heart here, so which is also a biblical principle, so, and shu means to be actually have peace with others. So
I think this is an interesting example of there's actually, you see this in many different cultures actually. There's a distinction between the law that's written on stone and the law that's written on the heart and is practiced within the communicative hearts of a people.
Yes.
And interestingly, for me at least, I experienced that process to be first observed in the scriptures.
Yes.
That the law is now written from stone instead on the heart.
Yes.
We see this here, the way that they express it, that the doctrine of our master is to be true to the principles of our own nature. It's not to be something that's archived. Of course it was archived, and it's a good thing that it was too, but it once again expresses that there is a goal to manifest a culture and not a set of character guidelines. In a sense.
Yeah.
And interestingly, I observed that same practice in someone like the Spartan people, believe it or not. That was actually the essence of their culture, is to not have archives of philosophical writings that set about guidelines of how one is to live life, but it was instead to be instilled in their very character and heart, that they would be they themselves and their lives would be the manifestation of their law.
Oh, okay.
That their law would not be written. It's just the same process. Of course, there's a different substance behind each.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's a very interesting cultural aspect of a society or of a people. It's the difference between that which is written on stone in order to manage a province, for instance, and that which is actually brought about through an awareness that there is actually a culture that is sought to be built.
Sure. Yeah.
Through that law which is written upon the heart.
Yeah. You like that? What do you think?
I don't think I have any further comments. I do. I agree that's I guess kind of something I didn't like. It's kind of a new thought, though. It is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Jesus said, when the Pharisees come to him, said, "Hey, what is the most important part of Moses' law?" He said, "Love your God with all your heart.
Love the Lord your God with all your heart.
Then love your neighbors and unto yourself." The literally the essence there.
That's what he said.
Yeah, Confucius actually means more because all these two words in Chinese relate to on heart. There's a part the underneath. Look at these characters. We'll show you. Look at these two characters. This on the beginning. You look at on the bottom of it. Actually means heart. So each one means something to do with the heart, right? So Zong means you look at this. Zong means something often sitting in the middle, right? You can't really balance anything in the middle. You're gonna fall down, right? So making sense to you? Especially sitting on like a steak, something like that, So what it means is basically how the sitting very, very precise and unprejudiced, unbiased, right? So that means exactly reflecting the heart. That's why I call it conscience. Paul used a word called conscience. Yeah. So shu means actually there you can see there's two words. You look at this. It's heart, and above it is like that, right? That actually means like or accommodating. Okay, so what there is actually means not necessarily easygoing, but make peace, not strive, making sense to you. So that's to do with later on uses called forgiveness. Actually means the word actually means forgiveness. So just overlook other sins, try to pursue peace with, pursue goodness with people, making sense to you, so it's literally, it's also like a mother feeding a child. The word actually composed on two words means a woman, it's a mother, and a baby's mouth, basically one is sucking the milk, so making sense to you. so mother sucking them, to accommodate the child. Like a young baby don't know anything, so you need to be fed. You can't really do anything. So, my say there is be gentle compassion like a mother to a young child, So in all this, however, you can see one is applied to your inner man, yourself. The other one is actually try to maintain good relation with others, making sense to you, So in this story is very interesting. Tang means he was calling one student, hey, the teacher said, hey, my ways of life or my ways of teaching has a consistency in it. Don't you think? And then this brilliant student said, yeah, I see it, so. But other students come around and say, what it really means? What is the consistency? So these students who have understanding said, it is basically 综合术 means, what is your translation, 综合术?
Where is this?
Just two words.
Is it the last?
Mm-hmm.
The last
sentence,
words?
yeah.
The last few words is this and nothing more.
Ahead of that.
A little bit. So the last thing that's said is the doctrine of our master is to be true to the principles of our nature and the benevolent exercise of them to others. This and nothing more.
There you go. That's how they translate it. True to your nature, benevolent to others. Okay, so that's almost like be truthful to yourself, making sense, right? So, but that's not truthful to a bad nature or a good nature, right? So, making sense to you? So, the word also means loyal or truthful. Okay, so being honest in a sense. Yeah. Okay. Is further comments on this one? After that?
I think it's good. That's actually a really important one. In terms of what the subject of this particular book is about.
Okay.
I'm trying to... book 4. It's basically, I think, kind of the inner workings of the building of a culture.
Yeah.
And you had actually titled it earlier, basically, that this book is about how to be righteous in human relationships.
In human relationships.
Which, of course, is a major building block of a culture.
Yeah.
So that's actually what else could be meant by the master himself saying that my doctrine is one of all-pervading unity.
Yeah.
It's like essentially the same thing in many ways. It doesn't mean particularly peace with mankind.
Yeah.
But that unity is brought through basically by shared values. In a sense, which is what a culture is.
Yes. Now let's do some little exposition on this. If one continues seeking self-achievement or fulfillment, would he have this way of life be easily practiced? He's always going to stumble over. Tell me why. Self-seeking man. Not that's really bad, right? But his vision is I going to be somebody, do something, So, and everything is supporting me to achieve that. Making sense to you? So, all the wiser vision, give you the first contrast on my point of view, is one said, God and life give me this advantage to be a help to the community, right? To the whole, to others, basically. So, and there are two different visions how to enjoy the privilege of life, right? So, or how to be spend your life into. I think that's major struggle with culture of the West and the modern Eastern culture per se, but the biblical culture.
You can see the Western culture is like a large sea vessel that is moved by rows of oars, and everybody's rowing in their own direction and their own pace. So all the vessel's doing is rocking in one place in the sea and creating a bunch of waves.
That's very good way to say it. Yeah. Like different horses flying in different directions, the same thing,
You don't really go anywhere, you just make a huge turbulent mess.
Sometimes they go together, right? So maybe make great effort. But in that way, going about things, should be there another way of ordering things, so contrast.
Well, when the oarsman realizes that he's not the only oarsman and that he's responsible just as everyone else is for the movement and transportation of the vessel itself. And when they come to that unified agreement that it is to move somewhere, then the vessel moves.
Now, then vision-wise, so then talk about education. How you build people into this way of life. Something has to take, right? So, for it to be initiated, recognized, and practice, So, what do you think those things are?
So what do you mean? What are you exactly referring to in terms of what those things are?
I mean, if you you're going to achieve something, you be your own person or do something, you're going to develop relationship differently, right? Receive education differently. you're going to perceive your life passion differently, right? So, which is modern society mostly based upon. I mean, the whole world has a scramble, whatever the word, into this wheel of thinking, right? Competition, self-fulfillment. We may do some charity. We may be helping with a certain community, or we may even sacrifice a lot to better others' lives. But in general, it's still a personal endeavor, right? It's not a societal change or cultural change. Making sense to you? So, is that not what fundamentally has undergirded Christianity? Actually, the movements even, to be spiritual, to be godly. And we really never examined the culture construct, what it means from the foundation to look at relationship in a fundamental way and educate people in a fundamental way. So, I'm just talking, so broad out. Now, then if you educate people a different way, what's the best education for young people to develop those kind of attributes? This culture input, those vision of life would look like. What's the best way? It's actually in everyday life, how they deal with the elders, how they deal with siblings, how they deal with the people, the friendships they have, right? So rather than just learning a topic, develop a skill sets, I'm not you are in a tender age for those things, but I'm saying that educational